Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Cheap Comic Collector, and this is episode number 530. And yesterday's episode, I said we were going to do a Whatnot box today, but we're not. Um, I realized that that extra Whatnot box would make for an extremely long claim sale on Saturday. So we're not going to show any books today that are going to be in that particular claim sale. What we are going to do is look at through some magazines. If you're if you've been watching the live stream on Wednesday nights, where I'm on with Aaron and some other people, including Easy Comic Reader, sometimes, and Cup of Comics, they I was showing some magazines. I got in this awesome magazine haul. If you haven't seen that, I'm just going to go over it real quick, show you what I got. Let me turn. We got these two short boxes of magazines in. Almost all of them are Savage Sword of Conan's. This is entire box of Savage Sword of Conan's here. And then most of this box, right from here on, is Savage Sword of Conan. And there's some Epic Illustrated and some other things in here too. Some Marvel Super Specials and stuff like that. And so what I've done, because I want to try and sell these at a profit and make up some of the money I've been spending, is to the books that I'm keeping out of there, and I got some awesome books in there. We got Epic Illustrated #1, Charlton Bullseye #1 and 2, and Savage Sword of Conan #1. And I actually have two of these. I'm going to try to sell the other one for like $50. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. It might be sold by the time you guys see this because this is being filmed quite a bit ahead of time. But since I didn't have enough books read to do exactly a what am I reading episode, I thought it'd be fun to go through these, and because these are all pretty rare, and just page through them. I haven't actually done anything except flip through these so far a little bit, and so I think it'll be fun for us to go through them together and make observations and just kind of see what's what. So can't zoom in too much because they're magazines. So let me get the light turned on here though. And before we get started, please go ahead and hit that like button. I appreciate that very much. If you're not subscribed, give it a try. We drop a new video every day at noon, except for Saturdays when we do a live show, usually at 12:30. We usually do a live claim sale. So we're going to start off with Epic Illustrated, and unfortunately I damaged this one. I was trying to get it back in the bag and it slipped and the entire cover ripped off. So it's now has a loose cover. It was already damaged because it already had this big rip in it. This is the probably the book that's in the worst shape of any of them that are in the box, but it's still it's Epic Illustrated #1, came out in 1980, and this was Marvel's attempt to reach a more adult market. This was sold on newsstands right along with Time magazine and the motorcycle magazines and whatever. So you got a Frank Frazetta painting on the cover, pretty cool. And they actually had magazine ads in here, like a regular magazine. This is a motorcycle ad. And a jeans ad for collar jeans. I don't even know what that is. And you got a table of contents page and so on and so forth. So got an editorial by Stan Lee. And of course, this was the start of the Epic's comic line too. Eventually, this morphed into the entire Epic comics line they decided to go with. And I guess this is an ad. I thought it was a cartoon, a comics, but it's an ad for a loudspeaker system. And yeah, letters and comments. So there's Since this is the first issue, I'm not sure what this is. I guess but it's got something by Neil Adams, Ray Bradbury, some other folks I've never heard of. But mostly movie producers and stuff, it looks like, art directors, things like that. Another ad. And then here we have a first story is the Tale of the Silver Surfer. It's got the Galactus and the Silver Surfer there. It's called The Answer. And not seeing any credits on the page, but those are probably back here in the contents page. Story by Stan Lee, art by John Buscema, and Rudy Nebris, painted by Rick Veitch. So a Stan Lee story in here of Silver Surfer, Galactus. Pretty cool. Oh, look at that. Wow. And then you got a ad for Frazetta prints and t-shirts and things. And something called Homespun. This is by Wendy Pini of the ElfQuest fame, of course. And there is nudity in these. It was considered, an adult publication, so nudity was allowed. They weren't part of the comics code, so they pretty much did what they wanted. This next one is by Leo Duranona, something like that. And this is by Bob Larkin. He's a guy watching the Honeymooners, and then I guess the emergency broadcast system noise makes him blow up. And then this one is by Jim Starlin, it looks like. Act Nation. Oh, story and art by Jim Starlin. And a lot of these copyrights are all by the artists, not by Marvel. So this was all there, also a foray for them into creator-owned comics. That looks like the Starbird toy I used to have quite a bit, except it didn't have a beak on it. But awesome Starlin art. This one is by Ray Rue. Great Castle. Lullaby of Bedlam, this is called. So, okay, they're monitoring her dreams. So all the fantasy stuff is in her dreams, I guess. Elfspire. This is appears to be a text story with illustrations. That's by John Posick and art by Thomas Blackshear. And the Fantasies of Mirko. Is story and art by Mirko Illick. Okay. talented young Yugoslavian cartoonist. It says these were all his work. Convert by Ernie Coleman. Ad for TDK cassette tapes. That's funny. Heads by Arthur Slydam. And here's a second chapter by Jim Starlin of the Metamorphosis Odyssey. Awesome art. Man, they should have just gave Jim Starlin this format to work with and left him alone. It would have been awesome. And here's a chapter 3 from him as well. And that's continued into the next issue. And then there's a story and art by George Bush called Detour. Pretty sure it's not that George Bush, but who knows? Topaz by Carl Potts. And then that was it. Then there's an article about some of the contributors in the back. And ad for champagne or champale, whatever that is, of some kind of wine. So that's pretty cool. I'm happy to have that. Very happy to have that. We'll get into the Charlton Bullseyes and take a look at those. Hope everybody's having a good day. Thanks for being here. So this was a surprise when I pulled it out because I saw this and just thought it was really big, and I thought, oh, that's cool. And then I pulled this out from behind it. This one sells for around $100, from what I could tell. I mean, I've seen ones higher and lower, but this cover is actually by Al Milgrom. And it was basically kind of a fanzine, but Charlton put it out itself, I believe. Got a column by Bob Layton, Charlton News, probably talking about stuff that's coming out, and you know, it's interesting considering their production quality of Charlton Comics, or lack thereof, that they would put out something like this that's so cool. I mean, this is printed much nicer, heavy paper, better than any comic they've ever put out, really. And then this is from, when did this come out? This is from 1975. And they got a list of coming comics. You have Midnight Tales, E-Man, Fighting Marines, Haunted Love, Doomsday +1, #1, Vengeance Squad #1, My Only Love #1, Secrets of Young Brides #1, Ghost Manor, Ghostly Tales, Love and Romance, Sarge Snorkel, The Great Gazoo, Love Diary, I Love You, House of Yang #1, War #1, Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves, Ghostly Haunts, Beyond the Grave #1, Things #1, I haven't heard of that one, Scooby-Doo #3, Valley of the Dinosaur, Phantom, Popeye, Barney and Betty, Pebbles, Monster Hunter, Scary Tales, For Lovers Only, So they were publishing quite a few books, and it sounded like they were launching quite a few number ones when they came out with this. So there might have been like a push to become a bigger company or something. We got an interview here with Nicola Cootie. Um, got some drawings that he probably did. Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves by Roger Stern. This is just an article about the character, I guess. And then there's a comic story, The Guardian Spiders. I don't know, if this is a reprint or showing like the art in black and white, or if this is a new story or what. Not sure. I might be able to look that up on Grand Comics database. Sometimes they don't always index these kind of magazines, but I think they did these. Sorry, I'm just going to pull it up real quick and see what that says. There it is, Charlton Bullseye, number 1. It's listed. And see if it's got anything indexed. Looks like there was only 5 issues of this magazine, and then of course there was a Charlton Bullseye later that was a comic book. Yeah, it looks like they've got the whole thing indexed, which is odd since it's not that was really kind of against the rules. Guardian Spiders is done by Jeff Jones, and it's according to this, it's only been reprinted once in something from Avalon in Canada. So this is a story most people don't get to see. I got a ROG 2000 family album by John Byrne. Blue Beetle, The Boys in Blue, an article by Franklin W. Maynard. And see, this is by Al Milgrom. And then it's got some panels by Steve Ditko. The cover here is by Jim Aparo, I believe, according to what I'm seeing on the index here. And then not real sure what this is. Looks like it's an ad for something. From the Top Secret Bullseye Files. Just background information on some of the characters: the Ghost, Captain Atom, Nightshade, and then Captain Atom's story. This one's by Steve Ditko on pencils, John Byrne on inks. And looks like this was a new story too. It doesn't say it was reprinted from anywhere. And then that's it. You got the inside cover for the comic book guide for the artist, writer, letterer that they used to advertise in the Charlton comics. And you got a back cover here by Joe Staton. And apparently this is Countess von Blood. I don't know who that is. It must be like a host for one of their horror magazines, something like that. And then let's take a look at number 2. So I just got these yesterday, which is when I'm taping this. So I don't have these boarded yet. They came in bags, but none of them were boarded. So I have bags and boards are being delivered today. Should be 200 of each, so I can get these all freshly bagged and boarded. So this is Charlton Bullseye number 2, cover by Joe Staton, E-Man on the cover, obviously. And it starts off with a John Byrne illustration of Mike Malser and Rod 2000. Another introduction article by Bob Layton, who was the editor and publisher at the time. All right, and then you got some covers. These look like, I mean, these covers look really awesome. I don't really remember a whole lot of Charlton comics having covers that were this great. These are cool. So, I mean, maybe they look better in black and white. I don't know, but these are, yeah, I would say they were definitely pushing for a better product at this time. And then you got Charlton News. They're talking about new artists coming in and joining the team and so on and so forth. What comics are coming out which week. Popeye, Monster Hunters, Yogi Bear, and so on and so forth. Speed Buggy. And then this is, let's see, Captain Atom story, written by Roger Stern, pencils by Steve Ditko, and inks and letters by John Byrne again. And again, these are original stories, apparently. Oh, that's cool. Never seen Captain Atom drawn quite like that before. He looks like Captain Marvel. Obviously, that's Jim Starlin art, no question about that. Inked by Al Milgrom. And then article about George Wildman, who was an editor. Apparently, he was an artist too, because he's got this signed thing of Popeye here. And this one is just an article about Ghostly Tales, I guess. The art's by Warren Sattler and Steve Ditko. So I guess this is Warren Sattler. This one's by Steve Ditko. You can tell this is Ditko's style. Nature Boy. Don't really know anything about that. Script by Howard Siegel. Illustrations by John Buscema. Inks by Don Newton and John Buscema. Not familiar with Nature Boy. Article for a Charlton portfolio for $2. And then our Doomsday #1 illustration, or #1 Doomsday +1 by John Byrne. Bullseye Fanfare. I guess this is a letter column, basically. And something called Moonshift by Steve Ditko. Again, this is, according to Comics Database, this has never been reprinted anywhere, ever. So that's a 5-page story. And then it goes to the back cover, which is whoever that is. It's by Don Newton. So cool stuff. And then let's open the copy of Savage Sword of Conan that I'm going to keep. So this one's, I'm keeping this one instead of the other one because this one's got a little bit of missing color right here that the other one doesn't have. So I'm going to try and sell the better copy of the two. So yeah, you got this awesome cover. It's by Boris. I don't know how to say his last name. It's Boris Villaggio, something like that. And I guess that's Red Sonja probably on the cover as well. Not sure. Here's an illustration by somebody. The signature's kind of cut off down here, and I can't quite see who that is. Let me bring up the details of this one as well. And again, these were primarily sold on magazine racks. They weren't necessarily displayed with the comic books. They were, I remember seeing them right up there, on the top racks with all the other magazines. So this started in 1974, and of course it went on to over 200 issues. And let's see this inside. Okay, this illustration here is by Esteban Maroto, which is not a name I'm familiar with, which is why I could not read the signature. And then you got the table of contents and so on and so forth. All right, so you got this kind of introduction here, which I guess goes along with the story. It's a quote from the Nemedian Chronicles, which I guess is a story by Robert E. Howard. I'm not sure. They're crediting him as writing it, so I'm not sure if that's an actual book or story, but that's my guess from what I'm seeing. And then we got Curse of the Undead Man, the Conan story by Roy Thomas, art by John Buscema and Pablo Marcos. And I mean, the art in these are just fantastic. Oh, Red Sonja is there already. Oh, look at this. All of a sudden, there's a great big huge panel. Nice. I wish they still had the magazines of this type, but they'd probably be like $30 if they did. And then there's a subscription ad for the Marvel magazine line. You got Planet of the Apes, Savage Sword of Dragon, Dracula Lives, Tales of the Zombie, Vampire Tales, Haunt of Horror, Savage Tales, Monsters of the Movies, Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, and Crazy. And this illustration here is by Alfredo Alcala. And then you got an editorial by Roy Thomas. More this is supposedly from the Song of Red Sonja. I guess also written by Robert E. Howard. So I guess that's something taken from the books. And then they used old like movie illustration or movie photos for the illustrations on those pages. So you got a Red Sonja story by Roy Thomas, art by Esteban Maroto, Neil Adams, and Ernie Chan. Yeah, so Neil Adams was just inking over Esteban Maroto. So ad for the Planet of the Apes magazine. This illustration is also by Esteban Maroto. I didn't think it looked like the same artist, but it is. But he inked this one, so this is him doing his own inks, whereas the other ones were the ink by Neil Adams and Ernie Chan. So I guess that's the difference in inkers. Conan's Women Warriors article by Fred Blosser. With some illustrations of different characters from the books. Let's see, Black Mark. And it starts with a 2-page illustration by Gil Kane. Oh, it says right there, story and art by Gil Kane. Here I am looking it up on the on the thing. And then that goes into a 13-page story of text and illustrations. And it shows Gil Kane as being the writer and the artist, but it also shows Archie Goodwin as having an uncredited assist with the script. So he might have tweaked it some if he was the editor or something. And actually continues into the next issue. And then you got an ad for a Crazy magazine. And this article is about Cull. It's by Glenn Lord. Got some illustrations here as well. Different characters. It says artist Ross Andrews' original pencil sketches for the major Cull characters. So kind of a Ross Andrews sketchbook introduction to Cull. I got another photo illustration, but this one's got a Conan illustration laid over it. No credit for it on the database. And then the Frost Giant's daughter was an original prose short story by Robert E. Howard. It was adapted by Roy Thomas. And Barry Windsor Smith did the art. And as always, it looks fantastic. And then there's an article here for the Monsters of the Movies magazine. Now that's, even though Marvel did this magazine, if I remember right, it's not a comic book. It's just a magazine about movie monsters. Article for Dracula Lives. Awesome illustration there. And then I think the rest of it is just ads. We got Night Gallery graphics. You can buy posters of different horror-themed characters. Back issue order blank for back issue magazines of Crazy, Dracula Lives, Savage Tales. So Savage Tales must have come out before Savage Sword of Conan. So they kind of started him in that and then spun him off into his own magazine, I guess. And there you have it. Pretty cool stuff. Hope you enjoyed that. I certainly enjoyed looking through them. And tomorrow will be the claim sale. These won't be there. These will not be part of the claim sale. But we will be going through all the books that we showed this week. And then after that, we'll dive into some more stuff somehow, somewhere. Sorry, just getting the stuff put back in the bags. So thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. Have a good day.